In this series of mixed views in the Isle of Man, taken during the early spring in the early 1950s, we see the Isle of Man Railway in quite a different guise to what it is today. This is a railway working in its natural setting, with traffic being carried for the use of the islanders. Whether they used the train or not is immaterial. You'll notice that the train compositions themselves vary from carriages only to a single coach to the traditional Manx way of working a train with wagons at the back of the carriages. The timetable allowed almost every train in those days to shunt at intermediate stations and attach and detach wagons. It's interesting that this sort of procedure would not have been allowed in England. Under the terms laid down by the Board of Trade, it was necessary to detach the engine from the carriages if any shunting was done, so that passengers were not catapulted from one end of a station to another while the wagons at the back were being marshalled. There are various scenes of trains on the Peel line. When one has passed, you may have noticed that I got down and measured the gauge to see whether in fact it was anything like 3-foot gauge, which Mr. Bradshaw's railway manual said it should be. Well, it wasn't. The trains arriving from Douglas into St John's would normally divide at St John's, and one section would go forward to Peel, and the other section in the rear of the train from Douglas would be taken by a separate engine and carried forward over the old Manx Northern Railway to Ramsey. There is a one-coach train proceeding to Peel, and a few seconds later a two-coach train going up the steep bank to Peel Road on its way to Ramsey.